Welcome to Do the Thought podcast. This is a real estate podcast that we make sure we come with information that can, teach the regular people how to invest in real estate. I am your host today, Hamed Lawal, and my co-host is Ibrahim Ojenide. On this podcast, we want to make sure that we make your real estate investing seamless as much as possible by bringing you real life and practical information that will help you avoid some common mistakes in real estate. Keep in mind, you will have to engage in active practice of all this information to be useful for you and for you to get results. Ibrahim, it's another Friday. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you? It is a
I'm
good
doing great.
Friday. Hey guys. So this is another episode and I'm very excited to be here tonight. We always come every Friday and we are dedicated to make sure um, all the information that are necessary for you and I to learn and grow in this real estate world. We bring it to your doorstep. All you have to do is log in to Do the Top Podcast, join us. We are open to constructive and uh, constructive concerns question, or you can criticize our podcast. We are ready to learn and grow. Like Ahmed said, we are committed and we want this to be an interactive session. We've always said this, and it's part of the reason why I said you can come up with your constructive criticism, tell us what we are doing right or wrong. We are open to a review, and we are more than happy to adjust. If you just say certain way you guys want us to be doing it, or if there's a any kind of correction or opinion, we are open to that. So today we are bringing you an interesting topic, which is everyone. We all start from somewhere, Ahmed. I mean, we know you and I. We have multiple now, but we started from somewhere. So I'm very thrilled that we are coming today to say, okay, let's go back from the beginning. Let's start with the first one. This is the toughest part. It's not easy to get
Yep.
started. And you and I know the first one is the most scary and
Yeah.
most scary and most
Notice.
stressful of all. Um, so the topic today is how to buy your first rental. Ahmed, it sounds like um, sounds easy. It is. I mean, it's. I'll be honest. It's not easy, but it is practical. It is doable. And I'm glad we are coming here today to talk about how it can be done. Ahmed, our audience, they cannot wait to hear from you, in the sense that they would like you to break it down the easiest way, or what are the doable way to get it done. Thank you, Ahmed. You
Absolutely.
can go ahead.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ibrahim. So,
Sure.
hey guys, thank you for joining. We want this to be an interactive session. So please, the information we are going to be sharing today is going to be useful for everybody. So if you have a friend, a family that might be interested in investing in real estate, kindly share this video with them. So, Ibrahim, thank you for bringing us, introducing the topic and all that. Uh, Buying first investment property or buying your first renter is just like buying any other renter, really. Uh, the only thing is this is where you are learning most. This is where you will learn most. And like you said, this is where a lot of panic button is going to set in for you to kind of scare you and be like, oh, stop and don't go anymore. But if you can pull this off, then the subsequent one is just going to be as as if you it's just because now the process is just repeating itself, so you know what to expect. You learn from your last deal what you some mistakes that you make, and from there your process is started getting perfection, and you build on those success, and now you don't have any anything to be scared of anymore. So really, that is why today's topic is very, very important. Um, the very first thing to do if you are thinking of buying your first renter is to determine your market or your location. So market can be I invest in Indiana, I invest in Indianapolis, I invest in an area, certain area in Indianapolis, right? The same thing with you, Ibrahim. So narrowing down where you want to get your renter is very, very important. Why? Because you need to have a goal in mind. Not every neighborhood in Indianapolis supports short-term rental. Maybe due to regulation, or maybe due to the fact that the houses in that area is just not going to work with short-term rental, right? So that is why determining your location is very, very important. It's very, very vital because you need to find a location that actually supports your exit strategy. You need to find a location that you can narrow down. Okay, I want something in this section. Now I can start looking for whoever have such property and is willing to sell it to me in that locality, right? So determining that is a very key. A lot of people take it for granted. I believe you mentioned this last week that people buy houses not knowing the rules and regulation of the HOA, and they just buy it. And at the end of the day, they have to be forced to sell it because at the end of the day, it doesn't support their exit strategy, right? So that is number one. Another thing is if you buy in a wrong location. So I have an experience right now. Someone want me to help him manage a house, and I listed the house for him just by looking at the address and the streets. And guess what, Ibrahim? When I actually take my time to visit the house, I realized that, oh no, there is no other renter in that neighborhood that goes for that price. So that house is kind of way too renovated. I mean, the house is fine. There's nothing wrong with it. But the neighborhood, the rent, the kind of people that stay in that neighborhood, that kind of renting that kind of a house out is just too expensive for them. You see what I'm saying? So the person did not consider his or her exit strategy when he was buying. So buying at the right location is very, very key. I cannot over emphasize that. We all need to pay attention. It's a very key part of it. So second thing will be analyzing property. Really, this is the most valuable skills any real estate investor can have. Why do I say that? Is if you don't know how to analyze deal, you don't know what the rent is going to be, you don't know what your monthly expenses is going to be, you don't know what your expected income is going to be, you are not supposed to be a businessman, because every businessman that is going into a business needs to be able to determine what kind of return on investment they are going to get, at least roughly estimate of the kind of return on investment they are going to get before they go into that kind of investment, right? So analyzing property comes with that. Analyzing property is helping you to determine what type of property it is, how much income you can expect, what the neighborhood rent goes for, how much money are this, monthly gas, monthly electricity bill. All these other things need to come into play. And how much are you expected to invest to make certain amount of return on a yearly basis on that property? If you can, excuse me, if you can determine that, that is a very vital skill. In fact, the faster you can determine that, the more property you can analyze, the more offer you can make, the more property you can buy. There are some people that have access to capital, and they need someone that can just look at the property, and within 2 seconds they can tell you this is a good deal or not, because it's a very valuable skills to have in real estate. And But we understand that this is what we are discussing today is mainly for the first or maybe second or third rental property. Even if it is your 1000, this process is still the same, right? So analyzing property is key. And if you want to go and buy shoe, I believe you don't just walk in inside the door and grab the first shoe that you see on the shelf and leave. You need to look at multiple, wear them, see how they fit, walk around the store and see if the shoe is actually comfortable enough for you to buy, or it's something that you need to consider the size or actually change it to a different one. So analyzing property is the same. You need to look at multiple. Don't just go with the first option. Don't let anybody talk it into buying the very first property you're analyzing. I'm telling you that is not the only option that you have. You have multiple options. So analyzing property comes into play when it comes to shopping in real estate, really. So when you are looking to buy in an area, make sure you find up to 5 and 10 property that even will give you what average ARV goes for in that neighborhood, in that area, in that zip code, in that city, and what average rent. We discussed rent on this podcast in the past, and with the numbers and everything we looked at, Indianapolis is around 100 to 1200 ish when it comes to rent, averagely, right? So that's the more you analyze, the more property you look at, the more market expert you become. So within seconds, you can easily determine, okay, properties in this area, it's going to be easily rent for this amount. This properties in this, it's going to be easily rented out for this amount. So analyzing is a very key component when it comes to buying your investment property. My advice is don't let anybody push you into buying the first one. Even if it is a real estate agent, let them show you 1, 2, 3, schedule a showing with the seller's agent. Go and view it, go and look at it, look at the neighborhood. There are some things that the pictures will not show. Of course, if I want to sell something to you, I will only show you what I know will benefit me. That is how you should view real estate as well. Go there, check it out, see how much you are in, how much return you can get in that kind of area, and from there you can make informed decisions. So that analyzing property is very, very important. Another key component is putting EMD down on a property. That is like opening up an escrow. So EMD is honest money deposits. Honest money deposits in real estate is just showing your seriousness. It's you going like, okay, I want this house, but until I finish my inspection, my due diligence on the side, this is certain money that is going to go towards the principal at the end of the day. Like for you to know that I'm serious. Then the seller's agent can then bring out the contract. Then you guys go on the contract. Then the house go on the pending, right? So that is just for you to show them that you are interested, even though you are looking at 5 property, 6 property before. Now you've narrowed it down to one, and you are then sure that this property is the one that I want. So typically, honest money is about 1 to 2% of what the purchase price is. So what I mean by that is, let's say you want to buy a house of 100,000, you are expected to put more than 1,000 down. A serious real estate agent on a house of 100,000 will not take less than 1,000. So you just to show that show that you are serious, you need to put down more than 1% of the purchase price. So show them that you are serious. So that way, that even force you to find a solution if you run into a problem. Let's say lending problem and all that. We're still going to get to that part. So that forces you to find a solution, because now you don't want to lose that 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 that you have sitting in escrow, right? So that forces you to be creative, to think outside of box. So I have a story about that, but maybe I'm going to save that for another day. So that forces you to be creative. That forces you things happens, right? Things happens. The lending. So the house I'm working on right now, a week to closing, Ibrahim, the lender backed out. A week to closing, they back out. So now I have to go and find a new lender, or I lose my 5,000 honest money deposit. So that is how things happens in real estate, and it's generally in business, not only real estate, right? So that really forces you to be creative and find way around obstacles. Like they always say, if you want to do something, you're gonna find a reason or you're gonna find your way. But if you don't want to do it, you find an excuse. So always be creative. The next part, once you put down your honest money deposit, the next part will be lending. Look for source of money, maybe other people's money, OPM. Maybe you want to bring in a partner can be money wise, can be credit wise, can be anything that you need to complete that deal. It doesn't necessarily have to be money, but maybe you want to bring in a partner. And guess what? Even if you go through bank they are your partner on that deal, because both of you are taking risk. So uh, when I say partner, it can be anybody. Just make sure you find a source of lending. You can use FHA if you're a first time home buyer. You can use conventional. You can use USDA. There are loan products out there that can fund your deal. Note that FHA and some other loan are not meant for investment property, but as a smart investor, if this is your first home, there's a way around it. There's a way you can get to use it. You just need to make sure you are not committing mortgage fraud. That is very important. You don't want to do something that we put you in trouble. So finding a lending is an important part of buying your real estate first time buying your first rental
First,
property. Typically, when you are buying, yeah, when you are buying rental property or investment property, you are expected to put 20 to 30% down. So that is something to put in mind as well. So if you are looking for a house of 200,000, that means you need to bring minimum of 40,000 to closing table. You can be creative on that. There are many ways to go around that as well. You just need to talk to someone. On this podcast last week, someone asked about pulling out equity from their house. That is one way. Another way is, you can approach bank. Another way is you can lend this money from your relative, and over time you pay them back with interest, so that they can make return on the money that they are giving you. And it's a win-win situation, because now they are making money off of your deal, and you are getting a house for almost free. You just put in the work, right? So there are many ways to go about lending as well, but the fourth step is bringing in lending. So guys, if you are watching, please like, share, and subscribe. But the most important thing is this information, we want it to reach as many people as possible. That is how we can, spread this gospel and reach a lot of people, that we can grow up. All of us can grow together. Please share the link to all these guys and let them know that this information, we are not trying to keep it to ourselves. This is a tested information. So moving on, I have discussed determining the location you want to buy your first rental property, uh, analyzing. So determine the location, analyze the property to make sure it's going to be a good, you're going to have a good return on your investment. And after that, you look for the property, right? Then you find the property that you want. Put honest money deposit down to open escrow. Open escrows means moving to title was close. You can be closing attorney. It can be depending on your state. In Indiana, use title companies, so they are going to do the title works, do the title search on the house, make sure there's no equivalence or any cloud on the house. And if there's any, they will plan to clear all those during closing, so that you don't have any all these small lanes on the house. I also discussed EMD, and then we go into lending. The next one is going to be inspection. While you are getting your lending and getting your funding ready, get someone that can inspect the house, inside the house, and make sure that they inspect all the big item like the foundation. If there's any foundation, let them inspect the foundation, let them inspect the HVAC, let them inspect the AC, in heating and cooling system, the HVAC, let them inspect the roof of the house. So those three things are very important. They are more more big ticket items, but those are very, very important. Foundation, the HVAC system, the roof. Make sure they inspect it and nothing is wrong with it, and so that you don't have to go in it. I mean, if you know and it's something you are willing to take over, that is fine. If it is something that you already incubate into your pricing, so that you already let the seller know that, okay, I'm going to take care of this, but you can give me credit, right? So let them know. And if it works for you, if the inspection clears, you can then close on the house. So closing is when the exchange of the deed transfer to your name instead of the name of the seller. Now you can the banking, the signing of documents, banking, wiring the phone, you wiring your your deposits, your down payments, and making sure you are available. They are you can close virtually now. The title company can come to wherever location that is safe for you and them, and they can close with you. That is virtual, or you can go to their location and close there. So after that, that is actually the beginning. Everybody thinks once you look for a house, find a house, buy the house, then you are safe. You are good to go. No, that is no. Now you have to manage the house. That is very vital part of buying a house. If you think because now you already own the house, you don't need to do anything major again, you are wrong. Management comes in two form. You can outsource it, which is giving the house to property manager, or you can self-manage it. I would say being a first property, self-managing is okay. But once you started having two, three, four, five on your plate, you are creating a business. You are now creating another job for yourself. So instead of creating another job, it's better to let someone take little percent of your income and manage this for you, so that you can go out there and do what you know how to do best, which is finding deals and putting them under contract, buying, and concentrate on building your portfolio. We don't want you to just buy one and two and think that is the end of the world. No, you can actually own a larger portfolio, or maybe one day own an apartment complex. So we don't want you to just relent. So we want you to buy as many as possible, which is where property management comes in. With property management, they typically take 10% of rent, and they will screen the tenants for you. They will find the tenants, screen the tenants for you, collect rent, and manage all maintenance that comes out of or comes up in the house, so that you can now be, at least 80 to 90% passive. Keep in mind, no property manager is going to love your house as you do. You still have to manage the property management team. However, instead of you spending 80 hours in a month on managing the house, now property management team can reduce it to 2, 3 hours. Maybe you just responding to their text message. Oh, something goes down, we need to fix it. It's $20. You can, okay, that's fine. Go ahead and fix it, right? So that is just 2 minutes today, 3 minutes, 4 minutes. By the end of a month, maybe you at most you spend 30 minutes managing the management team, and now it's almost passive, right? I said almost because you are still managing the management team. But however, you don't want to get stuck in managing your property that you don't have the opportunity to go after buying more deals. So that is very, very important. I think that is all the steps that I have. Let me quickly recap. Finding the market, like determine the location, determine the state, the city, and determine the area you want to invest in. Keep in mind also, you can do it does not necessarily, it does how can I put it? It is not compulsory that you invest in where you live. You can invest somewhere else. There's a way to do it. You just need to manage it. It takes a little bit more work, but it is possible, right? So if let's say you live in India and property in India is not affordable for you, you can go somewhere else that is affordable and invest there. As long as the market makes sense and you know that you're going to get good return on your investment, that is okay. So after you do that, you make sure you look for properties by analyzing more property, looking at minimum of 5, 6, up to 10. In fact, give put your offer in on all of them and see who is going to be willing to negotiate with you. That is how you can know. If you like, oh, this house is too expensive, it's a little bit expensive than what I want, you already cancel yourself out. So if you don't believe in yourself, nobody else will. So it's good to at least put in your offer and see if they accept it or not. And if they want to counter it, they will. Then you go into negotiation from there. Another after that, you go into lending, finding lender, see which lender is willing to work on you on that house. That doesn't necessarily mean bank. It can be partner. It can be someone that is looking for where to put their money temporarily. And if you know in the next 6 months, a year, 5 years, you're going to be able to return their money, go ahead. After which you put in your EMD, honest money deposits, which then open escrow. Honest money deposit shows your seriousness to buy the house. Like I mentioned earlier, it's typically 1 to 2% of the purchase price. No serious realtor will take less than 1% of the house from you. No serious realtor will do it, because now that leave you off the hook. That kind of money you can easily push away depending on the purchase house or the purchase amount of the property. So it is good to put more money down, so that way if anything goes wrong, that give you opportunity to think creatively to actually work the deal to the end. Do your inspection. Make sure you know everything that is wrong with the property. So that might even be a leverage for you. That might be an opportunity for you to go back and renegotiate the price of the house, or give the seller the opportunity to fix what is wrong with the house, right? So the next one is going to be close of escrow, and the very last one is management. Management for me is the most important part of it, because that is where everybody snows on it, thinking that now the property is mine, management is out of the. No, it's not. So you still have to manage the property. Ibrahim, do
Yeah.
you want to add anything?
Yes, thank you. First of all, I want to go back to what you said about you are experiencing um one of your clients give you I think you listed a house for that client and you realize that the property is, I should say, it's more bougie in that area, like it's more fancy than the typical houses in that area. So I think we've talked about this before. Like, you don't want your property to be the most expensive or the most beautiful in or the biggest in a neighborhood. um
Yeah,
what
absolutely.
what is the implication of that? So the implication is that people are going to benefit from your property just because, when you sell or rent it out, um you probably won't be comfortable renting it out the same price with those smaller or less beautiful properties. So you are improving their equity, you are improving the value in that neighborhood. However, because the fact that yours is the most beautiful or the biggest in that neighborhood, the rest of the property are kind of bringing your property down gradually. Because now, let's say you want to sell your house, and in that same neighborhood, there's no, not enough sale that compares to yours. The majority of them is, less beautiful, less space, and everything. So now the appraiser will be forced to create a number just because, you know, there's no enough comparison to use. Um, and that might hurt your property. So here we are advising you, when you want to buy property, make sure your house fit properly into the neighborhood. When I say fit properly, I mean your house does not have to be the most beautiful house in the neighborhood. As long as it matches what is going on in that neighborhood, I mean, in fact, you can strategically buy a property that is, in fact, the same size, or, a decent size in that neighborhood. However, it might be the worst looking property. But what you're gonna do is you're going to transform it to a better looking or a very competitive, design in that neighborhood. That way, you will benefit from the equity that other houses have built in that same neighborhood. So my point here is that do not overspend, do not buy the biggest, the most beautiful house in the neighborhood. However, try to make sure your house fits properly in the same neighborhood. So the example I may gave, it's like that house is way better than the rest of the property in that neighborhood. So at the end of the day, the owner won't be able to get the kind of rent that really match the kind of amenities and the standard, and the beauty the house has to to offer to the guest or to the tenant. So technically that person have to just take some loss. These are something that is avoidable. um and it's one of the reasons why we always advise you to come to this podcast, so we can all learn and grow together. So um is there a way out? Yeah, for someone like that, i- depending on how much he or she has spent, depending on the equity, depending on the current situation in that neighborhood, if that person can still, the person may look into other kind of strategies. Um, just so it depends on the situation. Um, Now let me go to the other ones that I noted. You also talked about, like, all these, there are different kind of loans, and depending on what you are trying to do. So like FHA, USDA, they are not technically they are not for investment properties, but there are some situations that allows you to do that, because with FHA you can get this investment property as long as where you are living, you have to, maybe you get a new job and you have to go to another place, and the commute to your job is far, or it's, you know it's gonna be like very stressful, just you commuting from your work to your house. FHA will understand that. Or you have to move out of state, or you are trying to upgrade. When you're trying to upgrade, it is allowed to, to change your property. So that's okay on that. Let's say you also want to, let's see, okay, you want to upgrade. You are living far away from your initial property just because of job. You Or okay, so those are the major, or you have like a military mission. Some of this military stuff, they let you you gotta get deployed and all that stuff. So there are some exceptions. That's my point. And as long as you match your situation, match those exceptions, you'll be fine with FHA and USDA. VA, I mean, that also, it's not technically designed for investment, but it's one of the greatest loan you can ever apply for. I have a client right now that is doing VA, and some of the condition that applies to other kind of loan is like, no, we don't worry about that. No, don't worry about that. So very interesting loan. Um, Zero down and all that good stuff. So yeah, I support that because I mean we know the effort, the commitment, the sacrifice the military folks are putting into the service and everything. So I I love that kind of loan. Anyway, let me go back to the main topic. So about buying your first invest rental property. It is the thought. It's kind of scary for new someone that you have in mind, but you don't know how to start and where to go. I'm glad Ahmed broke it down and he gave us all the steps. I'm just trying to go over it again. It's the same thing because you just have to get started to see how it is. It's the same thing. You know, you look for the location, you make sure you've already secure your finances. You decide how you want to get it. Is it off market, on market? You take a step. You just don't sit and over analyzing. I mean, I made mention analysis, which is great, but do not over analyze. When you over analyze, you will realize that it will keep going wrong because you will always discover something, and that something most of the time is a what if kind of thing. Like, because no number will be all clear and all perfect. What I'm trying to say is this: you've looked at your number from start. You say, okay, you want 10%. You look at your number, you are seeing 10%, or you see 9%. Okay, this is your first investment property. You know what is going on in the market at, okay, interest rate and this and that. A good investor, as the first one, will see how he or she can lower the cost so that the deal can come back to 10%, or take the 9%. And after you take the 9%, you think, how can you do it to improve that return? What do I mean? I mean, there are different strategy. You want to do normal lease from the beginning. For example, you want to do normal lease. Now you do your math, you are getting 10%. You are not satisfied with 10%. That's okay. If you're not satisfied with that, okay, how can you get more than 10%? Now that means you have to think, okay, can I get more than 10% if I change my strategy? If I go to the next one, okay, what is the next one? Okay, maybe I have to do middle term renting where people just come for few days or few months. I meant few months. They come for few months, a month or two or three. That way I can get more money. If that property will work for it and the situation in that area, everything is working, then you might have to go to the next one because you are not stuck. Nobody says you have to do long-term lease. Okay, let's say you want to do long-term lease because you think that one is easier, but you won't get the 10% and you want 10% or more. Okay, the middle term leasing, well, you know yourself, you know you cannot do it just because you are busy, you have family, you have this or that. There you go. Ahmed already gave you the answer. I'm going to repeat it. Get property manager. Boom. That's the answer. Get property manager. Ask before you even buy the property. Kind of know how much they're going to charge you. Like, because these people, most of the time, they charge you less than what they do anyway. So it's like you're getting very cheap service anyway. So when you find out, you already know how much they're going to charge you. Add that to the estimate, to the analysis. Like, okay, if I pay 10% or 15% or 5, whatever percentage it is, add it to it. If the number is still making sense and you're getting more than the 10% that you were striving for, and you contacted the property manager and he or she says you're good to go, that strategy will work in that area, bro, what are you waiting for? You have to
Oh,
just and you have to get started because it looks like things are working for you based on you've analyzed it. You've talked to an expert, which is the property manager, and he or she's saying, yeah, you're good to go. You can do it in that area. Then, yeah, go ahead. Give it a try. Because here's the thing, nobody will sit here and tell you, or anywhere, and tell you that, okay, if you buy a first property, um, because you've analyzed, you're going to get 20% or 15% or 5%. That's all it's going to look like every day, every night. No, one day something's going to pop up. Some kind of maintenance issue, that issue, this issue. And when those things pop up, guess what? The property manager, a good one, we would have set you up for like, okay, you're going to be saving so amount in so account. You're going to be, for maintenance, for repair, you would have saved some money. That way, that money is going to be the backup money for repairs, for maintenance, which is part of the benefit of a good property management. So my point here is that even though Ahmed mentioned that you're going to manage your property, I mean, even though you have a property manager, you still get yourself involved. Try to see what's going on in the transaction. Yes, but if you have a good one, trust me, what you're gonna be doing is like you feel like you don't do anything because before you think of something, that person already figured it out because that's what he's been doing. That's what you know. That's the profession, that person's profession. So you don't have to worry too much on that. I mean, he will just keep getting things going. And the first one is the toughest. When you do that first one and you are successful in it, before you know, in fact, it will become addiction. I'm sorry to say. Real estate is kind of like Ahmed.
It's addictive.
It's very addictive. When you're doing well in it, you see the way things are rolling. There'll be less, there'll be less anxiety, less. You see that potential. The financial freedom is started kicking in. I mean, financial freedom. It doesn't come like just boom one time. No, you will start seeing that trace. You start smelling it. You will start feeling it. And when you start feeling it, you get addicted into the process because this thing, it's like you're doing something. And when you're doing it, you are seeing the reward. It might not be as huge as what other people might be, expecting. But with real estate, it's more than just the cash flow. It's more than just what you see right now. There's tax advantage. There is cash flow. There is equity. It's all bundled together. So you have to look at your business holistically. You have to look at it as, okay, this is what I want to do because I know what I'm gonna get from it. Anyway, let me go back a little bit. After you have determined what strategy you want to do, you have talked to a property manager, you have seen that your strategy is going to work in that area, you've made your research about the limitation, maybe HOA limitation or the city limitation. You've cleared that out. For sure you are able to do that business in that area. So since you've know for sure, go ahead and approach an agent or an investor that will help you to secure that property. Tell them your situation, tell them your plan, tell them your aspiration, tell them what you have in, how you want to fund the transaction and everything. When you're transparent with the agency, the investor, the wholesaler, or anyone who's trying to help you to acquire this dream, it helps both of you. It makes the transaction well planned, because that person will tell you if this is gonna work or not, or if there's another strategy. Because nobody is perfect. With real estate, we all learning. You know, you learn today before you know where you're gonna find something else again. Like it's a world of possibilities, endless possibilities. So my point here is that be transparent. Talk to those someone who's gonna help you acquire that property. When you acquire that property, since you already talked to a property manager before you are, before the acquisition, that property manager will hint you some of the things you might have to do, because he or she has been doing that. So they know what you have to do by law, because It's one thing to have property, it's another thing to know how to manage it. Management is big, guys, because you have to have the right documentation, you have to screen your tenant right, you have to put in a system where they can make payment seamlessly. This is 2023. Nobody's gonna be going to the door and be knocking like, "Hey, I need rent." I mean, some people still do that, but you don't want to put your I mean, it will get to a point the tenant, especially if the person is like, young, vibrant person, they'll start looking at you like, come on, why don't you just register online, or do something where I can pay without knocking my door every month. Um, and I pray you don't get beat by a dog anyway, because because things I mean, you can't be knocking doors at this time. And so anyway, try to get a good property manager that's gonna help you get your deal. It's gonna help you maintain and manage your deal where you gain your cash flow, you save your money. Another mistake people always make is that when they do the first real estate transaction, they think, okay, now I'm good. You're not there yet. You're not there yet. Real estate is like a gradual, but in most cases, steady, if you plan it right. Gradual, steady, and everlasting return. Because when I say everlasting, I mean like the house is always gonna be there. Just maintain it. You have your equity, it's gonna keep rolling in. You have your tax benefit, it's gonna be there. Your cash flow again is coming in every month. So it's gonna help to stabilize your financial, if there's any kind of financial burden, it's gonna help to stabilize that. It's gonna help to achieve that financial freedom if you take it serious, if you work towards it, and you are really dedicated in getting that financial freedom. You will get there. Real estate has been proven to do that. Like it is a pathway that will get you to that financial freedom. Millions of people, I cannot tell you how many millions of people have done that, and they are still doing it because it is a well tested, proven strategy to get that financial freedom. Um, I
Absolutely.
can tell you by experience. I'm feeling it. I'm seeing I'm seeing the route. I'm seeing the potential. It's one thing that somebody's telling you this, somebody's telling you that. It's another thing that you are trying it and you are seeing that potential. You have to open your mind, be focused, and try to see what is coming. When you're narrow-minded or you think so small, real estate might not be for you. I'm sorry. You have to have that big vision that, okay, I'm gonna get to so place. All I have to do is follow these practical steps. Join podcast. Join, like, Ahmed. You know this. We've been doing this. However, we still watch Bigger Pocket. We
Yeah,
watch guys on Instagram and all. Even though we have our own podcast, we still do that because nobody knows it all. We all gonna be learning and learning because we learn to keep growing. You know,
absolutely.
yeah, well, that's life. So we want to encourage you to keep coming to this podcast, learn from what we have learned, and we promise you we're gonna continue learning so that we can pass the message to you guys as well. That's how it is. So,
Yeah,
Ahmed, I have a question. So we know to get this property, you have to kind of these are the obstacles. I want to save money. I want to um, do some overtime, and unfortunately my company, there's no overtime anymore right now. um, but then, I mean, I know some uncles, some brothers, but I don't know if I should ask them. My uncle have a good job, he has connections and all that. I know he's earning a lot of money. I know that for sure. um, but my uncle will give me money if I really explain to him what I'm trying to do. If I show him that this business is going to work. Now, what do you think what strategy I can put in place so my uncle can see, or how can I approach my uncle? Because he got his money, but I have to show him that, yeah, it's going to work. And if I go to him like, uncle, I need money, I want to buy a house, he's going to look at me like, what are you talking about? So
You know,
what can I do to get this uncle to release some cash? How can I show him that I have something that will benefit you and I? I mean, my uncle is very busy. He doesn't have time for all that. He just goes to work, come back, and I know he has a lot of 401k and all that stuff. What can I do?
so there are multiple ways to approach it. Uh, the last thing you mentioned, I'm gonna come back to that. But really, um if the deal is very good, money will come. That
Oh,
is the saying in real estate.
yeah.
But I always want people to know that regardless of how good the deal is, there are some people that will not invest with you.
Oh,
One
okay.
thing that you need to know is you need to know your value.
Sure.
They are not doing you favor. You are the one doing them favor. If that doesn't make sense, give me 1 second to explain. If they put that same money they want to invest with you in bank, due to inflation and everything else going on in the economy, they are actually losing money. One, you must be able to explain that to them and show them practically how they are losing money. Secondly, now because one thing that I've been learning lately is how to sell anything to anybody at any single time. And number one key that has always been every book I've been reading that has been coming up very often is letting the person know what they are losing by not investing with you.
Sure.
So if I know Ibrahim, or when Ibrahim sell a house, he always gets 5,000, and I know that I cannot afford 5,000. The only money I can afford to pay Ibrahim if he buy me a house is 500. The only thing I need to find out is how to get you to think of I'm losing this 500 if I don't do this for Ahmed. Not about, so if I approach you that I know that per hour they pay you 5,000. If I approach you like I I have 500, will you help me? That would sound like are you kidding me right now? Do you think I'm a joke or something? That will even offend you because technically I'm insulting you, right? The kind of a person that you are. But if I can find a way to show you that Ibrahim, well, I know you the people pay you 5,000 and all that, but I don't have that. So instead of you losing on this 500 that I can take to, do you still mind helping me? And now I'm technically triggering something in your head like you might, this is not your money, I know, but it doesn't hurt if you help me and still get this 500 to add to your money, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can help me for free. But instead of you helping me for free, I still feel like you hand the money. I want to pay you. But if
Mm-hmm.
you don't want it, then I can go somewhere else. So I need to find a way to get you to see that you are losing something. And this is what you're going to lose if you don't invest with me.
Sure.
So now back to the way of getting uncle to invest with me. One, I need to show them where their money is right now, what is happening to it.
Sure.
Like really let them see. Then immediately the next thing in his head is how am I going to get that money out of that place? That is where you come in and present your offer. If it is someone that's it's analytical, you need to come in with PowerPoint slide
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
showing every details on step and all that. And one thing I want people to realize is these guys are not giving you the money. They are sending it to the title company. Title company is verifying that the deal is actually going through. And if the deal falls through,
Mm-hmm.
they get their money back.
Sure.
right? So it's not as if they are sending you money and you are spending that money to do party or you are celebrating something, So this is actual investment. If it is done right and you can prove that, anybody will jump on your deal if that deal is a good deal. That is why I said I don't totally agree with if a deal is a good, money will come if only you can show the right person that this is something they need to jump on. So that is question number one. The first way I want to answer it. So you need to find a way to prove to them. In summary, you need to find a way to prove to them what they are missing, because this is like tick for tax. If your money is sitting in the bank over the next 6 months, probably the return you're going to get is $5. What if I'm giving you 1,000 and I'm giving you your money back? Will you take $5 or 1,000? Everybody all day, every day, they will take 1,000. You just need to let them see the value that you are bringing to table. That is why I said they are not doing you a favor. This is a business transaction. If they don't see it, move on to the next. I'm going to tell you something. So there was a time a guy wanted to bring me in on an investment in Texas. This guy called me one time. I didn't pick up. I called him back 30 minutes later. He said, Ahmed, the opportunity is gone. If he is begging me, I probably would be like, I don't know if this is going to work or not. Immediately, I didn't pick up. He moved to the next person. And before I called him back, he already gets someone on the deal. That is how quickly things are. And if you know your way around things, that is how quickly deals goes off market. Yeah, off the grid in real estate. So you want your uncle to invest with you, but you need to if you go in as if they are helping you, then you're probably not going to get the money. You need to go in as a businessman now, as a business proposer. You are proposing something big for them. It's going to benefit them. It's going to benefit you. If they are not interested, move on to the next person. That is one way to do it. The second thing is, a lot of us have money. Very soon, I'm going to come up with a paper or like a 2-page or to 5 pages paper that I explain all these resources. A lot of us have hidden money. I call it hidden money because we don't even think we have it. We have been in the workforce for over 10 years now, at least. On average, for our age, we have been in workforce for over 10 years now. That means we have been doing 401k in one company or the other for the past 10 years. On an average, if the company is contributing a quarter to that money, we should be having like 20 to 30,000 in our 401k by now. Yeah. Right? If we have that kind of money, this is a money that we can use to invest. 2 ways you can do it. The very first way to do it is to get a loan against it, but you are not going to get all your money if you do it that way. The second way is the company. You cannot move the money of the company that you have right now, but the company that you already left, you can actually transfer their money, their 401k, the 401k you earned or you contributed while you are working with them, to what we call self-directed IRA. And with that give you, now you are using your money to invest. That is why it's called self-directed. It's instead of people investing on your behalf, now you are investing that money yourself. So that is another way to get into deals. So you don't necessarily have to save up money. You don't necessarily have to cut expenses and all that. I mean, if it is expenses that doesn't make any sense, cut it out. I'm doing the same in my life too. But if you don't necessarily have to start saving 100, 200 every month time kills deal. Thank you, deal. The longer you wait on a deal, it's gone. You can fast. And this is, once you get this ball rolling, it's very easy to connect with people. Now, your brother, if you can convince him to invest, the next thing you're going to see is, oh man, I don't know this exists. Do you still need that money? Because I don't need it yet. Then you're going to use it on the next deal. Before you know it, his brother is going to your brother is going to tell his friend. His friend is going to tell his friend. Before you know it, people will be throwing money at you. But one thing I learned it myself. I don't know this before. I learned this is they are not doing you favor. This is a business transaction. Both party is going to make money. So don't see it as, bro, please give me this money. I will promise I will pay. No, show them if you are sure. If they are not interested, move on to the next person. I'm not sure if I answer your question, but
You
the
you
first
did
one,
answer. Okay,
yeah,
go ahead.
the first one is know your worth and present it as a business proposal, not that they are doing you favor. The second thing is because your brother probably know about business too. He has a lot of money, so he knows how business works too. So that's one. The second one is they find the hidden money, some money that you don't think you do have that you have. They exist. Look for it. They actually exist. If you don't know how to get it out, ask question. That is it. That is all you need to do. You don't have to know everything at the beginning. Ibrahim, the very first day we started this podcast, did anybody tell us how to present ourselves, how to do this? No. But as time goes on, we started learning, we are improving, and we are still asking for constructive feedback till today. So you don't have to know everything before you start things. The more you go, the more you learn.
Sure.
Sorry to cut you off early.
Oh, you good. So Ahmed, by the way, guys, Ahmed is a property manager, so it's something that is passionate about, and is providing this great services for people that want their property to be managed. You can reach out to him. Ahmed, how can they reach out to you?
If you want to reach out to me, you can do so by DMing me on Instagram. It's official Ahmed Lawal, or you can text me or call me. I have two numbers, but my business line is 765-240-7932. Ibrahim, how can people reach out to you?
Yes, it's IB Realtors. If you want anything concerning real estate, you want to buy, you want to sell, just give me a call, or you can go to my DM IB Realtors on Instagram. Just text me, and I'll get back to you as soon as I get your message. Thank you, guys. I mean, now you've seen it. You have a property manager. Don't think too much about it. You just follow the steps. Talk to the property manager, and in no time you will get the key, and
Yep,
then your cash flow, your equity, everything will start rolling in. Do not
absolutely.
make the mistake. Just give it a call. Okay. All right. I don't think we have any questions. D, thanks for always coming on the episode. We appreciate you. You are like our number one audience.
Next week is going to be epic. We are bringing in another real estate investor that is going to be on the show next week.
Awesome.
Please, guys, join us. She has ton of knowledge. I met her at a real estate meetup where she's delivering a speech. So
Great.
she has been on the stage before. She has always delivering all these epic when it comes to discussing real estate, she is phenomenal. So please join next week. We are going to see you. Bye.
Thank you.